Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. And I've been wanting to do this video for about 2 years. But I feel it's really important to do it now because once the season ended, every single time I went on YouTube, all I saw was FUD against gambling, saying gambling is bad, gambling is the boogeyman. And I want to be clear, and I want to make this crystal clear. Gambling saved my life. Sports betting saved my life. It's the best thing that ever came into my life outside of my parents, outside of my family. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being hyperbolic here. It really is the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm not one to get personally offended by things, but this is one thing that really irked me. Like, there was 2 creators that the algorithm was really pushing. You guys know you can't really avoid it. You guys watch my station, so once the season ends, you know what the algorithm's going to feed you. And it was feeding you this 2 guys. One guy is a black guy. He would do the videos in the backyard of his house, and the other guy was like a white guy. He'd wear like a beige trench coat, looking all serious, Mr. Serious Journalist man, and just pretty much shitting on sports gambling. And this is one thing that I have a problem with. I hate when people use the worst examples and try to make that a rule. For instance, alcohol is extremely harmful. It is. I know people who've committed suicide because they try to quit alcohol. I know people who've committed suicide because they try to stop drugs, or they kill themselves doing drugs. You use the worst example and you try to make that a rule, and that's one thing we're seeing with the sports gambling fund. And even a guy like Peter King, we know he's one of the biggest columnists that writes about the NFL. He wrote this weird story last year chronicling a man who lost about $500,000 and literally gambled away his wife's wedding ring to be able to pay for it. And listen, we actually make money doing this, firstly. And secondly, you guys probably have been on my Patreon. If you haven't, you guys know what we do. You know how much money we make. But either way, I've probably had about 10,000 unique viewers on Patreon, unique users, unique subscribers the last, 4.5 years? And maybe I found like 5 or 6 people with a gambling issue. And that's where I take offense with it, man. And I gotta say, when I was living this normal life, I did all the right things. I went to college, got a damn 4.0, was a teacher, did the job, put my head down. But you know what? That gave me nothing. It gave me no happiness. You work a job and you barely can afford to live, let alone eat, let alone live good, let alone afford to buy a house. And you're telling me that sports gambling's the problem. With all the problems in the country right now, you're telling me sports gambling's even on the top 20? You're telling me sports gambling's even on the top 20? And that's why I get sick of it, man. There's so many problems, there's so many issues, yet they focus on that. And it's really lame. And I gotta tell you, I always kept doing the YouTube videos. It was always a hobby. I would work the whole day. I would grind. I would sit in my car, my little box, for an hour there, hour back every single day. And while most people just go home and they blob out, eat junk food, and sit and watch Netflix, I would do the YouTube videos and I would sports gamble. And that's what I would do. And I had no complaints about it. And that's what makes me happy. And so I hate how they vilify it, man. And listen, I've been out front and outspoken about this. I do think the parlays are pervasive. I do think FanDuel pushing parlays down people's face is ugly. I did a video on it. We went through the mathematics of it. We obviously know it's a bad bet, and it's a sucker bet, and it's a sucker bet to take money from casuals. But also, at a certain point, people need to take responsibility. If you're going to do something, you dive in, you go balls deep, you get serious about it. And that's one thing that is missing from this world. Just not a lot of people are serious. A lot of people want to make excuses. A lot of people want to vilify things that they don't understand, that they can't even comprehend in their little peanut brains. So that was one thing that really got me going during the off season. And honestly, man, I got to tell you, and it's not me blowing smoke up your behinds. When football season starts, it's about that time. We're at like July 15th, July 16th. I start to get the rumble in my stomach when I wake up. I don't have anxiety, but when you get that push, you feel the jitter, you feel the butterfly in your stomach getting you going, where you actually feel alive. That's how I feel alive. And once we get the football season, it's a grind, it's hard work, but I love it. And that's one thing that I can't get being a teacher or working a 9-to-5 or being a cog in a cubicle, having someone just slander me every single day. I can't do that. What gets me excited is getting up, analyzing these games, making these bets, and making money. And last year we were awesome, man. I gotta say, like, the college fund bets were on point. The Patreon bets were on point, and we know it's not a straight line with this, and I never sold you guys that by any means. That's one thing that got me a lot about these gambling videos, this fake journalism that we were seeing, where they look like tough, serious guys. They're so serious, and at the end of the day, it's all just fun. It's all just blasphemy, and I'm rambling a little bit here, but I needed to get this off my chest. And lastly, I'll just finish, man. The drive that the NFL gives me, the drive you guys give me, is something that is honestly a gift, and you can't replace it. You can't put a dollar amount on it. Am I going to get FanDuel money? I'm not going to push parlay, so you guys know I'm not getting FanDuel money. I'm not getting DraftKings money, but I don't need that. Luckily, I live in Brazil, so I'm able to take care of myself, and I'm able to do what I need to do without selling my soul, without becoming a slave, without getting on my backside and doing things I don't believe in. So I want everyone to just think about, when people try to vilify something and use the worst possible example, listen, every single day in Brazil, there's alcoholics on the street who are literally addicted to alcohol, and they choose to live on the street rather than be functioning. Does that mean no one can drink alcohol? I mean, you guys know what I'm saying, and then we can go down the list. And I just hate when I look at all the problems in the damn country. Like, I see 20 enormous problems. People can't buy houses if they're under the age of 50. No one can do shit. People paying like 10 G's a year in homeowners insurance. And I'm looking at all this stuff, and I'm saying, why is sports gambling even on people's mouths? Why is it even in the list of problems that we have? Make sure you hit the video. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet. I crawled out of my hole. We're ready to go. Get on Patreon. $5 a month. We've been betting soccer, but I'm ready to get back in the NFL, baby. Let's get this money. I'm sweating. Have a great night, guys.